Welcome to our Wellness Hub. My name is Monici. I'm a mindset coach and I help women who feel stuck and overwhelmed in their lives by giving them actionable tools to develop lifelong positive habits. I also study and interview individuals with positive mindsets. One specific type is the mindset of a person who goes from a corporate job to entrepreneurship. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Laura Boone, who is a business and executive coach, and she made this transition. Laura, thank you for being here. Tell us a bit about yourself and what do you think is the mindset of a person who goes from corporate to solo? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Yes, it is lovely to be here. As you mentioned, I'm a business and executive coach, and I work primarily with individuals and organizations that are looking to navigate change. Now, today we're going to be focusing primarily on the individual side of things, the exciting opportunity that we often have to go from our corporate space where we have the opportunity to move into a solo space. So really what I do is take the background that I have. I have almost 30 years of experience in working in project management, change management, and professional development in the education, finance, and IT space. And using that information and that understanding all the different lenses to help people to navigate change in a way that's successful, but also sustainable and satisfying as we move through the journey. So moving into the solo space, should I just dive in and start to talk about?
Yes, well, what is the mindset it's that you need to have to do this jump? Because it's a big change in your life.
You're correct. It's the enormous change in mindset, because a lot of what got you there won't take you there. We are so successful as individuals in our corporate education. I call it the W-2 workspace, where we're getting a paycheck. It's a production-based workspace. And so we are so successful in those spaces. And quite often we will either have the dream of or the opportunity to move into a space where we get to make the leap into entrepreneurship for ourselves. Now, sometimes that happens because we make the decision to. We retire, or we decide that the space we're in isn't aligning 100% with where we want to be, or other great things happen. Or sometimes it's a job shift. Maybe the company closed down. And so the biggest mindset shift, there's so many, as you know, but is to make that shift from that kind of production mindset to value mindset. One of the biggest things, and I work with primarily women working to establish their own business, often after a number of years in corporate education or IT. And what we find is that focusing on value, often they'll say, you know what, I made this much per year or this much per hour. Right. And that's the production mindset of which I speak. It's a small piece of it. We can't cover everything in this, in our time together, but we can definitely dive into it. So that production mindset to what is the value that you're bringing? And this is a really hard shift, because a lot of times women will say, or people will say, you know what, I want to earn $250 an hour, or I want to earn X number of dollars an hour. And making the shift into, it's not the dollar value that you're bringing to the table. It is what is the value that you're going to bring to the client. You can calculate the potential increase in revenue, increase in time saved, increase in sense of safety, comfort, and value. That's what you're really bringing to the table. And we're not quantifying it in the same way in the entrepreneurial space as we were when we were in the kind of W-2 production-based space, because that wasn't our company. And so we didn't, own, even though we felt like we own it, because we do our work and we're great at what we do. We don't own that at the end of the day in the same way we do when we're sitting at our desk in our home office, and the numbers and all the ownership of everything for ourselves and the people that work with us and for us is on us. So it's really, again, the shift from the production to the value mindset, I think, is the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge that I see with people moving from solo to entrepreneur.
And also the fact that you have more time. I mean, you have to, adjust to a new schedule, because before you just go to work 9 to 5, that's it. And then you come home. Usually you shouldn't bring work at home, but as an entrepreneur, you can work at any time, any day. So on one hand, you have the freedom to say I can spend more time with my family. On the other, you have to set some stricter rules for time management. Otherwise, work can take over at home. Yes.
And you are so correct, because they are also internally defined and you get to decide when they are, right? I used to, and to tie into that, when I was working in IT in education, I used to have a fairly regular meeting with one of the members of my leadership team, and we would meet fairly regularly at 9 o'clock at night. We would get off work at 3. We would go home, do all the things, and I'm not the only mom out there that's done this, right? Do all the things. And then we would schedule a meeting for 9 p.m. and we would get on a call and get some work done for an hour. And that was us being entrepreneurial in a traditional workspace. Now, I talk with entrepreneurs now, the women that I work with, and one of the things we get to do is we create the foundation and those boundaries so that we're not blurring into all other domains of our life, and we're not sacrificing family, relationship, all the things for the work, which is part of often why we got out of the workspace, the traditional workspace in the first place. And the coolest thing is we also get to define what those hours can be. They don't always have to be traditional hours, right? I do more of my work between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. than I do any other time of day. I tend to take a couple hours off in the middle of the day. And I know others who do this as well, because we work with when our brains and our bodies are most ready, most productive, and most creative. And it's such a really neat thing to know that we can do that. I think that's such a positive aspect of the experience. What else?
Yes, talking about positive, being an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't get results right away, and it takes time, especially when you're changing and shifting from the corporate world. You want to get results quite quickly, and they're not coming. So you need to stay positive and keep working. And many people, does it happen to any of your clients that they leave the corporate world and after a while they're like, you know what, I need to go back, because time goes by and the money that they were expecting to make by a certain period of time doesn't come? Does it ever happen?
All the time. And unfortunately, that is often when I start to see people, when people are coming for coaching. I talk about the distance between an opportunity, a challenge, and a problem is the distance to the consequence. If the consequence is far off, you've got nothing but opportunity, all good things. And this is when we usually jump into that entrepreneurial space, when it's all opportunity. And we do the things that we've always done, thinking that we're going to get something different. And then we start to have a challenge. Consequences are getting closer, the bank account's getting lighter, the nerves are getting higher, the stress is increasing, and there's a challenge. Then it becomes a problem because we're really close to running out of money, discouraged, in this space where it just doesn't feel like it's working. And you know what? I'm just going to go get a job, because this clearly isn't working. I love to see people really come in at the opportunity stage, if and when possible, because that's the shifting mindset. Because we do need the positive attitude. We need the affirmations. We need the breath work. We need all of the mindset, everything. And that is going to make this work. It's going to sustain us, because motivation only sustains us for so long. Motivation is like a rocket booster. It's not going to carry us through, because things get hard. There is a hard element to it. And there are a number of check boxes that I see people go through as they go on the entrepreneurial journey. They reach out to their friends and they expect their friends to promote their business and make the business happen, because they know they're so good at these things. And when and if that doesn't happen, there's disappointment, and some of that motivation decreases. And then we don't get the first sale, motivation decreases. We host a webinar, nobody shows up, motivation decreases. This is all still opportunity though, because it's the tiniest of shifts that are going to make the changes there. And so the answer to the question is yes, we see people all the time without the proper structures, strategies, and supports in place that will end up going back to get a job. And that is 100% fantastic, fine, and amazing and wonderful if you're doing it because that's what you are choosing to do. It is also a huge loss if it's not what your true heart, soul, and your gift and talent is that you're intended to bring to the world.
This is where you actually help women.
Yes. It's my favorite thing on the planet.
Yes, they're entrepreneurs, and to give them the tools to be successful, correct?
Right. And it is about the three pieces: the structures, the strategies, and the support. I call it science, strategy, and soul, because we do need the science behind it. We benefit strongly from understanding what's going on in our brain, the organ inside of our head, our central nervous system, how our physical selves are responding when we're putting ourselves through even change we want. So understanding the, neurophysiology of it, such a benefit. Because what we can often do is see stress as a stop sign instead of a, tipping point into the next greatest thing. We get stressed, we get scared, we stop, fight, flight, freeze, fawn. But instead, if we have the structures, the strategies in play to understand how to navigate that stress, that's the science behind it. Change happens in a very predictable manner. Group change follows a very predictable curve, and individuals within that also follow a very predictable pattern. AGCAR, change management theory, it takes you through how individuals navigate change. And as we work with entrepreneurs and help them to understand that all of this is predictable and then put the supports in place, then we have this huge recipe for success that is so exciting. And when you see whether it is entrepreneurship or whether it's moving from a role that isn't as satisfying to another in another W2 workspace, whatever it is, but one that really is the best and brightest fit for you, it's a beautiful thing and everybody wins because the world's a better place. So the whole rising tide lifts all ships. If one person is perfectly seated, then everybody wins for the experience. But that's really it. And we as coaches, whether we're calling ourselves business coaches, mindset, all the things, what we're doing is providing, again, structure, strategies, and supports in a way that meet the person where they are, help guide them on the journey, and then take them to where it is exactly that they want to be. We take ideas from abstract to achieved. We take the drama and we pull the data from it. We take the feelings and we wrap frameworks around them in order to create this holistic structure that makes the idea of going back to a job a choice as opposed to a fallback.
Yes, and unfortunately, okay. Laura, I try to keep my interviews a bit short. It's really hard because there's so much to talk about. But thank you, Laura, for all the insights and all the inspiration and the passion that you put in your work to help women go to the next level in their lives. So for our audience, Laura's information is going to be underneath our interview. And I thank you so much for coming and joining us, Laura. And until next time.
I love it. Thank you for the work you're doing. This is so key. This is so essential, creating the community that you are and the supports that you're putting in place for the entrepreneurial journey and for helping people to understand how essential mindset is to do all the beautiful things in the world. So thank you.
Ciao, Laura. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.